9 provinces. There was a question around what other acts guide our work, which I will hand over to Dr. Tembe, and then we will continue with the answers. I heard what you said, Honourable Member, in terms of the participation of the new member of the Portfolio Committee, but I covered it in my introduction in that I said that while his questions were not scored, he still enjoyed freedom of expression, and during the process, Dr. Tembe even indicated that we are able to probe issues when there are issues to be probed. And in other words, in this issue, there was a discrepancy which we had to probe because he had submitted a CV, which he subsequently said had a printing error or a typo, and then subsequently it came to the fore that in fact that might not be the case and Parliament might have been misled. With the issue of HR and screening and vetting processes, unfortunately, Honourable Shivanga, that was completed. By the time we had come here, those who had been completed, we had agreed as Honourable Members that we will not punish young people with records or credit records that were not looking good. So we didn't engage with them on that. But also, what had transpired in terms of the screening, all the details came back in terms of the HR screening and the state security screening. There were no people that we could disqualify in terms of Section 10 of the NYDA Act. But in fact, it came up that this candidate had outstanding fees and therefore his qualification could not be verified. And I did put it to him so that he can actually give us an answer in that regard. So it's not true that we came here not having done the screening, the HR and state security screening. But I'm going to go down and then members can further express themselves. Honourable Shabango is pleading for the process to be restarted. Honourable Spies agrees.
Don't get me wrong.
Okay. Apologies.
Please.
Okay, I withdraw. It's withdrawn. Honourable Kanyile, we come in.
No, I'm not making a comment, Chair. I just want you to fix something here because
are you Honourable Kanyile?
Parliament, it's a point of order. It's a point of order. Chair, I thought Parliament allows me to call. People have been speaking here. I've put up my hand. I'm raising a point of order.
Lonzi, you will speak when you get your slot.
No, but I'm being addressed here unparliamentary. I'm not his comrade. How can you say this comrade? What is that? That's not parliamentary language.
No, I think it's very friendly.
No, I'm not his friend. No, I'm not his friend.
Involving you in the processes.
Can you please protect members of parliament? Parliament has rules on how members of parliament must be addressed. So can you make a ruling on that? Because we are going to call each other with names here.
Please, can you call each other honourable members?
I'm not his comrade, and I'm not his friend.
Please call each other honourable members.
Speaking to me is not even, it's fine. It's not my comrade.
Yeah, we're going to teach him, because I see he doesn't know that.
Please refer to... No, this is not the spirit. Really, this is not a spirit that I want us to conclude this work in. Honestly, honourable members, young people are looking at you. No, it's not the spirit of our committee, and I don't want, young people are looking at you and they really want to see leadership. I told you, I said from the beginning, they're looking towards this committee for leadership. They want to know that this committee is going to take them somewhere, not this, which is transpiring now, where we are insulting one another. So please, can we complete this work? Look at the list of names that are there, the brilliant young people, talented young people that came forward to serve our nation. That is our focus. Honourable members will be given an opportunity to speak. You might have differing views. That is okay, but let's deal with it in a respectful manner. Please, honourable members. Honourable Kanile.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Good morning, colleagues, once again. In my view, the list of the candidates that we are recommending to the President are a true reflection of the scoring that we had in the previous week. Secondly, Chairperson, I think we need to put the matter to rest. You need to provide more clarity, especially when it comes to the issue when you are saying one member, his questions were not scored. There is a member that gave a candidate 50 marks. So if somebody gets 50, then it's an indication that all those questions were being scored. So could you please just give us clarity on that issue so that we know that we have covered the whole
No.
base?
No, remember when we were dealing with the fact that you had questions and each question had a mark attached to it. And we said then there's a new member, how will we be dealing? I'm not saying he didn't score. I'm not saying he didn't participate. He participated as a full member of this portfolio committee. I'm saying the questions that he asked, which all of you might have deemed inappropriate or political in nature, wasn't on our scoring sheet. So when you went through the scoring sheet, you didn't score the questions he asked. I didn't mean to say that he didn't participate.
Oh, okay. I think with that being said, there's one more issue that I'd like to highlight. I think going forward, if we are having this type of interviews and there are specific requirements in terms of what we're expecting from candidates, I would like to urge or plead with our support staff to ensure that we interview candidates that qualify. Because if you look at the age of this one particular candidate, when we interviewed him or her, but that candidate, he had turned 35 already. And maybe if we picked it up at that particular point while we're busy interviewing them, we were going to maybe exclude them from the process at that particular point in time. But I'd like to urge the support staff that going forward, can you please assist us in terms of ensuring that all those issues are being taken care of. With that being said, Chairperson, I just want to reiterate that I am in support of all these 9 names. Thank you very much.
So much, Honorable Kanile. Dr. Leklape.
Chair, I just want to plead with us that we not sabotage our own process. That we must be mindful of the fact that we are on a public platform and we shouldn't undermine the work that we've done over the last few weeks. Despite the challenges that are there, let's learn for the next period. But let us all be careful not to undermine this process. Because the worst thing that can happen for the use of this country is for this process to be nullified and we have to start all over again. That would be irresponsible from us if this process gets to that point, Chair. And I'm just appealing to members. This is not about us. This is about the youth of this country. And let us do our duty to ensure that the youth are served. We had credible candidates. You can never have anybody come through completely. The process was done properly. And what we should learn going forward is through the legal advisor. It might be advisable to have something in the next advert that would talk about a deadline of birthdays projected to the future. When you take into account how long the process takes. For example, would be say anybody that would be turning 35 between now and April next year will not be considered because we are projecting how long the process will take to avoid what has happened today. We will learn as we move along, Chair. And I'm just appealing for us to do our civic duty to society. And I just want something that should be clarified going forward. You've used terms of after one term, you will not be allowed to serve two consecutive terms. That it should be clear. Because you don't want somebody coming to say, yes, I've served one and I can be allowed 2 other terms. So that it is clear and precise to all of us that the maximum you can serve on this board is 6 years. So that it's written in simple language. You're only talking about consecutive terms. Someone would say they were not consecutive. I was here 6 years ago, I served 3, I'm back. So that it should be specific and clear for everyone so that all of us can interpret it the same. Thank you, Chair.
No, we fully support your sentiments, Dr. Leklape. I also think it was one of those issues when we first met, the old act was still applicable. And that old act didn't say you have to be under 35. And then we moved to the new act. And like you said, it's lessons learned. So maybe next time when we advertise, we'll say up until 34, which of course the legal advisor will tell us whether that's legally advisable or not. But I think those sentiments that you've raised, Dr. Leklape, is very important. But I do agree with you. It was an open and transparent process that delivered great candidates for us, and we should be proud of that. We should be proud of the work that we did, despite the little hiccups, despite the little disagreements. I really do think we did good work in the service of the nation, and let's not have this discussion derail what we had already achieved. Honourable Lonzi?
No, thank you very much, Chair. And we really want to thank every young person in South Africa who would have been following these proceedings. Because the NYDA Chair must serve the youth of South Africa. And it's in public interest that the youth of South Africa must understand what is the caliber of leadership that will form part of a board of the NYDA. It's public interest in South Africa to know that these people who are sending to be board candidates, are they ethical individuals? It's public interest. The youth and the people of South Africa need to know, are we dealing with ethical people here who are going to preside over a budget that is close to 1 billion rand annually? The people of South Africa need to know if there is a whistleblower or if there are allegations against the falsification of qualifications of particular candidates. It's not interrogation. It's public interest. The people of South Africa, it's a people's parliament. There's a reason why these proceedings are live. Otherwise, we're supposed to meet in a corner somewhere in some restaurant and have a discussion amongst ourselves, and then that's it. So I don't know why people now are suddenly becoming defensive or they are being angry because we have potentially shown the public that some of these candidates may not necessarily have the ethical stature that we're looking for to lead the NYDA. It was not a fight. It was a question to say, can we trust these people with the public purse? And we had to take each and every candidate through that particular process. Now, I am happy because I listened very attentively to the presentation of Dr. Tembe. Dr. Tembe, the first thing he did, he agreed with the point that I raised last week to say the Act is saying someone must be 35 by the time of appointment. And even last week, if you remember, Chair, people became extremely defensive. And I'm saying, this is what the Act is saying. I agree with what the Honourable Member is saying previously, but I also think it's being unfair on Dr. Tembe. Dr. Tembe can't rewrite how the Act writes certain sentences or how it words certain things. He's got to read it as it is. If this committee then feels that this Act is not worded correctly or this Act is not specific on certain issues, then this committee is empowered by Parliament to go into a process of an amendment of a particular Act. It's what has happened in many other committees. This committee has done that before.
And we will do that.
So I'm happy that Dr. Tembe says, in as far as the Act is concerned, this process was very seamless. I'm happy that Dr. Tembe doesn't make mention of the frivolous claims of Popia, which are coming. I'm very happy he didn't talk about that. That's why I won't even entertain the letter that you got, Chair. I think if people have money to waste in the courts of South Africa, they can go and do that. So I'm happy he didn't mention any of that, because in as far as the Popia Act is concerned, if people really understand the Popia Act, this committee did everything possible to protect the information of candidates. We hid their ID numbers. We hid certain parts in the CVs. Certain things. That's why we had a special file that we couldn't leave and we couldn't go out with it. So everything that we did was in line with the Popia Act. Now, if people are just going to come and make such claims and write to you unnecessary letters, Chair, let them do that. We'll meet in court. But we are happy if we have demonstrated to the people of South Africa that we have scrutinized these candidates to the fullest ability. I don't know why people have a problem with us asking candidates questions that are related to their CVs. Because these CVs were not the ones who wrote them. The candidates are the ones who wrote CVs and submitted the CVs to Parliament. So how can a member of Parliament then say, you are not supposed to ask a candidate about their CV? But they wrote this thing to us.
Okay, thank you, Honourable Lonzi.
No, I must make this point, Chair, because you've allowed other members to speak. They've mentioned our names, and you didn't want us to disrupt you when they were speaking. So we have to respond to those things because it's going to create a very wrong impression to the public. So I don't know why people will say you can't ask about a CV. If someone comes here and says, I've got 10 years experience. Now, as members of parliament at this level, we must just accept that this person has 10 years experience because they wrote it on their CV that they have 10 years experience. We ought to ask them to say, but my man, how do you have 10 years experience? Because this contradicts another aspect in your particular CV. By the way, Chair, we even got to reveal something, leave the other investigations and the whistleblowers. Through that scrutinization of the CV, the candidate admits and says there was a typo.
Okay, but Honourable
That is something that we've managed to achieve. Now, if we're going to listen to what the fellow members of parliament are saying, that we were not supposed to scrutinize, it means this parliament was going to run with the impression that that candidate graduated in 2011, when by his own admission he's saying, I graduated in 2021. So why would someone have a problem with that particular revelation unless you are hiding something from the people of South Africa? So we are not part of any agenda that seeks to hide anything from the people of South Africa. If there are candidates who potentially committed a crime, who falsified the CV, who cheated Parliament, who lied to Parliament, who submitted false qualifications to other departments and municipalities in South Africa, we must be able to expose it here in Parliament, not behind closed doors, not anywhere else in Parliament. And if people want to defend criminals, if people want to defend criminality because it's the political party position they were given before they come to this committee, then they will be charged for that. But we must be able to say to the people of South Africa, even when certain members of parliament wanted to defend a crime, we stood alone even though we stood on our own. It's fine. History will absolve us because very soon investigations are going to take place, certain revelations are going to be made. The people of South Africa must ask, when this question came before Parliament, which side were you standing on? Were you defending this or were you exposing it to the people? So we're not shaken by people who are insecure about their candidates and all of those things. Chair, we're very happy with this list. We're very happy with the manner in which you've run this process. We think that it was fair. We think that we got the best possible young people who are ethical, who are honest, who are qualified. There's a nice mix. I'm happy to see LGBTQI because I think I raised it in the last week that the last board didn't have. So I'm happy to have that representation. I'm happy that we've got disabled youth to ensure that their issues are at the center. I'm also very happy with the gender parity, the gender balance on this particular list of 9 names. The only thing I would have raised, Chair, and maybe you'll clarify it for me, I don't know why we don't write the scores next to them, because we scored these people. And I think, again, it's this culture of hiding things that don't need to be hidden to the people of South Africa. Because we scored these candidates one by one. So why are we hiding that, no, this candidate got 50 and this got what? No, I'm saying you'll clarify it for me, but I must mention it because the people of South Africa know that we have scored these candidates, but we're hiding their scores. The same way we wanted to hide that people falsified their CV, want to hide that someone graduated in 2021, you want to hide that someone has a typo in the CV. I don't understand this.
Okay, thank you,
This must be a transparent process. So please try to clarify. I believe that the people of South Africa know that we scored these people, and we must be able to put their scores there. And that will be the truest report to Parliament. Because when you give President Cyril Ramaphosa and Parliament, you must be able to say, this is what we have scored these people. Because now it just creates an impression that we just got a list of names from nowhere and we don't know where we got them. And then the last point I want to make, Chair, I know people are getting touched because they were sent to come and defend wrong things. But we're here to speak truth to power.
Chair, if
it's
I
our
may,
character.
I just before he proceeds, I think it is an injustice to members of this portfolio committee if we continue to allow such conduct. We respect you as the chairperson of this portfolio committee, and I think that should apply to all members in this particular portfolio committee. You have requested for him to conclude multiple times, and he clearly is not going to take that instruction. But I think this then sets a very negative and wrong precedence,
Can you
and chair
please
cannot
round
be
up,
allowed.
Honourable Lonzi, because I want Dr. Tembe to
No.
guide us in terms of
No.
the issue of the scores.
Oh, I know
Not
I
to
will
be allowed
conclude, Chair.
for
I-
electioneering.
Okay, please,
No,
thank
we're
you.
not here
You
to
see, Chair,
Thank you so much.
when-
Can I hand
when
over
you
to
are-
Honourable Mabel?
when you are sent to come and defend the wrong things in Parliament,
Okay, but also, Honourable
yeah,
Megan, he's rounding up.
I
then I'll give over
understand
to you.
the fire shame. The member was sent to defend wrong things.
Thank you,
So
Honourable
I'm
Lonzi.
very patient.
He must indicate I was
So
sent by who.
the last point
No,
that
Chair, I cannot accept that.
Honourable
And I must
Lonzi,
be
please.
protected as a
The-
member of this
the last-
portfolio
You are
committee.
protected. Can you please just...
is interrupting me. The member is interrupting me. What she said,
Okay, Honourable Lonzi, thank you very
no,
much.
but I've
for-
got the last point that I want to
Yes,
make. I was
please.
disrupted here.
Please round up.
Chair, I'm saying the whistleblower evidence that you have received, I believe that that must be made available to all members of Parliament because it's a very important information. Even the frivolous letter you must give us so that we can see and
I will be guided with Dr.
rubbish it
Tembe
here.
in terms of
so
that.
I think in the spirit of transparency, everything that the committee receives from the public, it must be shared with us. If it's confidential, we will find creative ways, like last week of having a bulk file, so that we can see the tsotis that we're dealing with in South Africa. Thank you.
Honourable Mabel, over to you.